Welcome to this week's edition of Warrior Weekly. I'm Matt Prink, joined always by Assistant Athletic Director Travis Whipple, and we start with women's basketball. Travis, a very good weekend for them as they travel down to Fayette, Iowa. We talked about it being a springboard game, and Katie Wolf, what a game she had, a career-high 24 points in the victory.
Been shooting well and has played outstanding all season long. We've talked about her additions to her game, being able to create her own shot, create for others. Obviously a great shooter, but a good win down in Upper Iowa, tough place to play, and kind of weathered the storm there in the second half and got through it. And outstanding accomplishment for head coach Scott Ballard, his 600th career win. And he's kind of a very humble guy. Would be the first to say that it's the student athletes, the coaching staffs that he's had, but he's a huge part of that. Obviously, a great feat for him in his career.
The team's 12 wins are second most in a single season. So you can just talk a little bit about the depth of this team. I think that's what really propelled them in the second half. Michelle Tobin came off the bench. She had 11 points. She was really unstoppable. Natalie Gigler, another consistent double-digit effort, and really a quick turnaround there. And they're still at that, on the edge of the regional rankings. Do you see them maybe moving up there from the 8th position?
They're right in it. They certainly can, and I think like you mentioned, kind of a springboard game for them here to finish out the season strong and get back into the regional tournament for the second time, and a chance to win the most conference games that they've ever won. And so outstanding things happening with our women's basketball team, and I agree with you there. It's their depth. They had some injuries, went through some adversity early on in the year, and I think that's helped them here down the stretch.
Yeah, they do get Marianne Dulas back, and I think that's really helped them, having that constant and the consistent point guard at the top of the key. They continue their road trip here this weekend. They travel up to Crookston and Moorhead, a tough place to play. Crookston nipped them here at home, and they took care of business at Moorhead as well. So a very important road trip coming up here before they come back home. Men's basketball, on the flip side, not the best weekend for them. They fell for the first time in 16 meetings to the Upper Iowa Peacocks. 80-64, that final score got a little one-sided there with all the fouls and sending Upper Iowa to the free throw line. But just a tough game, especially when you needed that game to really start this final road trip.
Absolutely. First off, just say hats off to Upper Iowa. I mean, their coaching staff's done an outstanding job the last few years building that program. Obviously our team would have liked to come out on top, but some things you can take away from the game. I think inside play went pretty well for us. Clayton Vetty played pretty big inside, had the 21 points, but I think at the end of the day, all season long we've been talking about is defense and intensity with this team, and that's what's going to have to be there for the run through the conference tournament. Well, first the rest of the season conference tournament, and then if the regional's there. Got to have that, and it's been the backbone of Winona State basketball for many years. And so looking back at the Upper Iowa game, sometimes shots aren't going to fall. Shot 19%. You can't think that's going to happen with the type of offensive firepower they have the rest of the way. But those nights certainly do happen, and you've got to find other ways to win basketball games.
Do you think the team needs to win out here and make a deep run in the NSIC tournament to try and get back in those regional rankings?
I think so. The greatest thing about college basketball, in my opinion, is that everyone's got a chance to make the regional tournament. You can go through, win your conference tournament, and be an automatic qualifier. But yeah, they obviously do need to do some things down the stretch to get an at-large bid.
Track and field was down, I should say, at Iowa State in Ames, Iowa this past weekend for the Iowa State Classic. Our very own Grant Wall, a grad from Iowa State.
Oh, that's right.
I think he went there.
Cyclone.
And a very, another tough meet to compete in. A lot of Division I athletes, and once again Rebecca Steer, another solid performance, and Mary Thiessen doing a nice job in the field events.
Absolutely, they finished 7th and 8th respectively, and they've done a nice job all year. But I think the great thing is a chance to play against Division I caliber competition, and that's an outstanding thing to do, and it's going to help them here within the conference, and then moving on into NCAA championships. But a number of student athletes have done a great job, and we'll continue to follow our track and field team as they do some good things here this spring.
The Warriors are back in action this Sunday at the NSIC Pentathlon up in St. Cloud, Minnesota. That's the NSIC Championship Pentathlon.
It's a tough. That's a tongue twister.
It's really a tongue twister. So they head up, and they're back in action this Sunday. Tennis got their season back underway here. Took a little time off from the fall to the spring and had an impressive win this weekend. You were there for their victory over St. Olaf.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, like you mentioned, they take a lot of time off. They compete in the fall, and that's a chance to move on as an individual in tennis. And now they come back, put it all together as a team, and a great win against St. Olaf, 5-4. Came down to #1 singles, co-captain Heather Pierce winning her spot, and just a great all-around team effort. New freshman on the team this year. I really like this group. I think they'll do well here, conference as well as possibility to make the regional.
And just like tennis, softball gets underway this weekend. The RMAC crossover tournament in Rochester, Minnesota. You'll also be there, and this is very very competitive tournament. The RMAC, NSIC, always those teams that are right up there, and one of the most competitive divisions of the NSIC. To get that started this weekend, it's
well, it's a neat one. Yeah, it's a neat event. First of all, I mean, there's not a lot of opportunity in softball to play the RMAC schools and get the NSIC schools in one spot, and so a great opportunity. Hope fans really come out to Rochester and support our softball team because there's a lot of good things going there. But some important games here early for them to get a good start, and you know how it is. The regional rankings will start right away, and so kind of battling and positioning yourself is important, and might be the only chance you get to play somebody from Colorado. So
don't forget, you can check all that out at WinonaStateWarriors.com for all your latest news from Rochester, Minnesota. Also, Warrior basketball this weekend, like we talked about earlier in the show, 6 and 8. Women start at 6, men at 8, taking on Moorhead on Friday, and then 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock basketball up in Crookston, Minnesota. That can be heard on 89.5 KQAL. That's it for this week's edition of Warrior Weekly. We'll see you next week.